Having learnt about shall, should, will, and would in the previous video, we will now race towards remaining modal verbs. Fasten your seatbelts, grammar gurus, because we're about to explore the powerful realm of must. This mighty modal verb is all about expressing strong obligations, necessities, and things we believe are absolutely certain. Think of must as the strict code keeper of modal verbs, laying down the law. For example, you must finish your homework before you play video games, or you must follow the rules of the road when you're driving. See how must emphasizes the importance of these actions. We also use must when we're super sure about something based on evidence or strong belief. Like, she must be a great artist. Her paintings are amazing. Or it must be raining outside. I can hear the raindrops. Remember, must is your go-to verb when you want to express a strong obligation, a necessity, or a belief that you're absolutely certain about. It's like putting your foot down and saying, "This is important." Let's explore ought to, and how it helps us with advice and probability. Just like a compass guides a traveler, ought to guides us in making decisions and offering advice. Ought to is like the wise older sibling of should, offering guidance with a touch of authority. For example, you ought to wear a helmet when riding your bike. It's a strong advice for safety. Or, the train ought to be here in half an hour. Here, ought to shows probability. Our final stop on this modal verb adventure takes us to the land of need. This little word packs a punch when it comes to expressing necessity. Need is like the essential items checklist of modal verbs, highlighting what's required. Think of it as your personal assistant, reminding you of the things you must do or have. For example, you need to study hard if you want to do well on the test. This sentence emphasizes the importance of effort and preparation. Or, I need to go to the grocery store. We're out of milk. Here, need highlights a basic necessity. Now here's where things get interesting. The negative form, need not, flips the script entirely. Need not is like the "it's okay, you're off the hook" signal. It provides a sense of relief, letting us know that something is not necessary. For example, you need not worry, everything is going to be all right. This sentence is like a warm hug, offering comfort and reassurance. In this chapter, we're going to bring everything together with a practical mashup of modal verbs. Get ready to see how these magical words work in real-life sentences. Let's start with, they can beat any opponents. Here, can expresses ability, showing what someone is capable of doing. Next we have, if I had more time, I could do some social work. In this case, could indicates a hypothetical ability or possibility. Moving on to, they will arrive at 6 p.m. Will is used to express a definite future action. Now let's look at, would you like some tea? Would is often used for polite requests or offers. How about, you may leave early today? May grants permission and also expresses possibility. Then there's, it might rain tomorrow. Might is used to express a lower probability or uncertainty. Next up is, you must wear a seatbelt. Must conveys necessity or strong obligation. Let's look at, shall we start the meeting? Shall is used for suggestions or formal offers, especially in British English. Now consider this. You should see a doctor. Should gives advice or recommendations. Moving on to, you ought to apologize. Ought to also shows obligation, similar to should, but with a slightly stronger emphasis. And finally, you need to finish all your work before you leave. Need expresses necessity or requirement. And there you have it, our grand tour of modal verbs in action. Now, even superheroes need a break sometimes, and that's where negative forms of modal verbs come in. Just add a simple not after the modal verb, and voila! You've changed the meaning to express the opposite. For example, I can swim becomes I cannot swim, and she should go to the party transforms into she should not go to the party. Easy peasy, right? And to make things even more conversational, we often use contractions like can't, shouldn't, and wouldn't. Now it's time for a very useful tip. Multiple modal verbs can be used to express the same modality. For example, 5 different modal verbs, namely can, could, may, will, and would, are used to make requests. Hope all this helps. If you have any questions or doubts about the modal verbs that we explored in this video, feel free to post them in the comments. I would love to help. If you enjoyed this grammar adventure, give this video a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting language lessons.